Howdy! Welcome to Dakota Cowboy here on Beck TV, brought to you by Dakota Community Bank and Trust. I'm your host, Wild Bill, the media director at the North Dakota Cowboy Hall of Fame in historic Medora. Right now, the Dickinson and Mandan branches of Dakota Community Bank and Trust have career opportunities available. Go to the website, dakotacommunitybank.com/careers, and see if your next job is waiting for you there. Coming up on the program today, we're going to get to know a board member who's also an inductee into the North Dakota Cowboy Hall of Fame. He is a rancher, he was a politician, and many, many more, and he's got a strong passion for all things North Dakota Cowboy Hall of Fame. Steve Tomac. We're going to visit with him coming up in a few minutes. Also, we have a segment on saddles today. Rex Cook, who's also an inductee into the North Dakota Cowboy Hall of Fame, is going to be along to explain the history of one of our saddles. And we have an opportunity for you to own a beautiful saddle from the North Dakota Cowboy Hall of Fame, courtesy of board member Nelson Hart, who is also on the program today. We'll explain here in just a few minutes. And Torgerson Auto Center brings you the North Dakota Cowboy Hall of Fame Hall of Honorees Inductee of the Week. This week, it's Champions Ride at Home on the Range. Wait till you hear what Jim and Tom Tesher have to say, along with the Reverend William Joseph Bonlander, coming up on the program. So call the neighbors, tell them to turn on Beck TV, fill up your mug with cocoa, and sit back and relax and enjoy another edition of Dakota Cowboy, brought to you by Dakota Community Bank and Trust. We're back in just a jiffy.
Finish Line Automotive Addictions is the place to get any accessory for your vehicle. This winter, protect your truck and everything in it with a new toolbox, custom bed cap, or tonneau cover. Come see us for custom fit floor mats, Nerf bars, and mud flaps. Finish Line has the latest remote start tech with miles of range or smartphone access from anywhere. Let Finish Line Automotive Addictions get you ready for winter at 1824 East Main in Bismarck.
Ladies of Another View in a hometown near you,
where we visit the small towns around North Dakota.
The quilt shop was going to be closing and I asked if they would be willing to sell. 13 years ago we started Quilt Essential.
Highlighting the jewels of the prairie while sharing untold and forgotten stories.
The first original treaty, we were one tribe between us and the Sistinawattanoyate, broken down into two, and then they placed us here.
Wednesdays at 4:30 Central on Beck and Beck.News.
Man has worked in sync with Mother Nature since the beginning of time. Relying on her to provide sufficient moisture every growing season is a roll of the dice. You can now insure your pastures and rangelands with Rainfall Index policy available from Chamely Financial. This will give you the peace of mind by knowing you will be protected from the adverse effects of Mother Nature. Contact Chamely Financial today, 719-338-3428, or go to chamelyfinancial.com.
We are rewriting Hollywood script for our kids. I'm pop culture expert Tina Griffin, and as a former Hollywood actress, I'm giving you a behind-the-scenes look at how today's entertainment is eroding the foundational development of America's youth, and how to safely navigate this pop culture chaos. Knowledge is power. Parents want solutions. It's time to get the power back in your hands and reclaim the right to decide who and what should influence your kids.
Weekdays at 2 p.m. Central Time on Beck TV. Now you can have the personalized forecast at your fingertips when you need it. Beck's exclusive Weather Insight is information tailored to you. Radar, weather alerts, forecasts, and videos. Download the free Weather on Beck News app. Search your app store now.
Hi, Rich from Law Motors. 45 years ago, Dad started selling cars. 35 years ago, I started selling cars. And 15 years ago, Tyler started selling cars.
And I'm Mom, and I told all of them, just be nice.
JR's Auto Body and Truck Collision has built a reputation as one of the most reputable and reliable body shops in this region. With nearly 30 years in business, customers count on JR's to get it done right the first time. They'll work with your insurance company to smoothen the process. From their 40-foot frame straightening machine, Sickens paint, and the latest technology in the repair industry, they're the only name you need to know. For auto, semi, RV, and trailer repair, it's JR's Auto Body and Truck Collision, North Dickinson. Call 701-483-6778. JR's Auto Body and Truck Collision.
Howdy and welcome back to Dakota Cowboy here on Beck TV, brought to you by Dakota Community Bank and Trust. If you ever find yourself at the North Dickinson branch of Dakota Community Bank and Trust, you'll see several saddles on display, including one from Dickinson bronc rider and Canadian Finals champion Dusty Hassauer, and many more too. And at the North Dakota Cowboy Hall of Fame, we have many, many saddles on display in nearly every room of our facility. If you go to writingforthebrand.com, you'll find a great article written by Mary Pat Martell Jones in 2014 titled The History of the Western Saddle. Mary Pat begins, the Western saddle and the cowboy who sit in it are an iconic part of American history and culture. For many months at a time on long trail drives, the cowboy would be in his saddle from sunup through the day and often half the night. When he did get some rest, his saddle would be his pillow. She adds a cowboy's saddle was indispensable. It was so crucial to his way of life and livelihood that the phrase, he sold his saddle, came to mean a man was finished as a cowboy. A cowboy in the old American West could not work without his saddle. Please read the entire article in its entirety at writingforthebrand.com. And we have a special saddle that we will be giving you an opportunity to own during the annual meeting coming up February 17th and 18th in Minot. We'll tell you more about that here in just a bit, but first we'll get a little history lesson on one saddle in particular with 2010 Hall of Honorees inductee Rex Cook. Rex's bio states before making saddles, he learned leatherwork by making bridles and belts and doing leather carving. Over the years and to pay his way through college, he learned saddle making, studying with experienced saddle makers and reading books on saddle making. And to date, Rex has created well over 100 saddles. And he was honored to have a demonstration on his craft at the state capitol grounds during the 1989 centennial celebration. Here's Rex now to tell you more.
Saddles in this country came from two different places. They started out, the people that came from the east, Ohio, Iowa, and so on, they had saddles as the country settled going from east to west. The saddles followed that, because in the 1800s, everybody had a saddle, whether they were a cowboy or not, they had a saddle. And those saddles made in the East were just saddles. They weren't made to rope, for roping, they're just made to ride. And so there weren't, if you go back to history, there weren't many cowboys. They made cowboys here, but they weren't cowboys when they left. They left Ohio or Iowa or Minnesota, they came out here and became cowboys. Well, then when the trail drives started coming from the south, then you got an influx of men who were cowboys. That's all they were. So you had a combination of those two things. And eventually then the style of saddles pretty much took the style of saddles that were taken and brought up from the south in trail drives. One of the first kinds of saddles that were in this country were they called them an A-fork. They were like this saddle is an old-timer. It's probably the oldest saddle you've got here. First of all, they had a narrow fork. They had a flat seat, no dish in the candle. Rancher I worked for, Richard Moore, said he had one of these. He said they're so much more comfortable. There's flat seat, you can move around in them, and that was what he liked about them. Then as they've changed styles like they do in everything. And this saddle's unique because it has what they call a Sam Stagg rigging. And I suppose that's for the guy that had it, but it's around the saddle horn and down here. It also has what they call side jockeys. These are made of two pieces. This is one piece, the seat's another piece, the jockeys are made again, which makes it pretty simple to make a saddle. You don't have to worry about shaping these. It's what they call a double rig saddle. You got a front cinch and a back cinch. Most of the saddles, or many of them, when they came up, they had no back cinch because it isn't like today where everybody rides a horse and ropes. Very few people roped. But they wanted this good, strong rigging in front, and you've got one saddle here that has that, what they call a Spanish rig. It was just one rig. And I grew up, there were in my country, very few double rig saddles. And this Dale Harwood said in one of his talks, he's a famous saddle maker now, said one of the most useless things in saddle business is a flank cinch and a breast collar, because neither one of them do any good. And he's kind of right, I think. But Anyway, these are the first kinds of saddles.
We're here in the rodeo room, near the rodeo room of the North Dakota Cowboy Hall of Fame, visiting with Nelson Hart, one of our board members. Nelson, good to see you.
See you.
How was Christmas for you?
Oh, it was pretty good, but a little cold.
I think everybody can say that, yeah. You bet. You're in the Newtown area, correct?
Yes, right, yeah.
Did you grow up there? Is that where you were born and raised?
I was born and raised on the eastern side of the Fort Berthold Indian Reservation, a community called White Shill.
Okay. And how long have you been in the Newtown area?
Geez, I retired in about 96 or 95. That's when I moved back to North Dakota.
Retired from what?
I used to work in law enforcement.
Oh, really? Oh, boy, there's another whole story we could share. But I apologize. I wanted to start out by congratulating you and your lovely bride just recently celebrated an anniversary. Congratulations. That's awesome. But we wanted to touch base with you today because we have our annual meeting coming up in February in Minot, and you have donated this saddle, which is going to be going to the highest bidder at the annual meeting. You know, the things that you've done for the North Dakota Cowboy Hall of Fame to donate are just amazing each and every year. This year, this saddle, what can you tell us about this saddle?
Well, this saddle came out of the Miles City Saddlery in Miles City, Montana.
Uh-huh.
And it was the last saddle they made in 2000.
Okay.
And this saddle was made with all this tooling by Dick Swanson. This is one of his last one that he worked for the Miles City Saddle Shop.
Okay. Now, what style of saddle is this? I mean, you know, you've got your Mexican saddles, you've got all kinds of different saddles. What style would you say this is? It's got the, oh wow, it's got a beautiful ram on there.
Yeah, geez, I don't know, it's kind of just a regular, you know, almost like a show saddle or a pleasure riding saddle.
Mm-hmm.
But it does have a roping horn on it, but.
Yeah. If you were to keep this saddle for yourself, would this be something that you would put on a horse? Would you use it in a parade or anything like that? Or
I probably would use it in a parade. I've been going through Miles City, many years, and the last 3 or 4 years, every time I pull in there, every time I go to Montana, I would stop in and tell them, hey, you still got my saddle here. So I would see this for the last 3 or 4 years.
Okay.
And last year, I was going through to Billings, and I pulled in again, still there, and I told that lady, I'm going to buy the saddle.
Mm-hmm.
So,
and then you were inspired to donate it to the North Dakota Cowboy Hall of Fame. I can't thank you enough for that. Why is the North Dakota Cowboy Hall of Fame so important to you? I know you're a board member. You're involved in the day-to-day business, the big picture, if you will, business of the North Dakota Cowboy Hall of Fame. What inspires you to do that, Nelson?
Well, they just do a lot of help other young kids coming up and rodeoing, and you know, and families keeping their legends going, their ranching, their rodeo, and all that. And, and they got a section with Native Americans. It's something that I just like to promote too for North Dakota people.
Yeah.
And I have saddles, and I didn't really need it, but I just liked it, and I knew I was going to donate it, but to which program or whoever. I just figured the best place to go, North Dakota Cowboy Hall of Fame.
Joe Chase, Pete Fredericks, Phil Baird, are these all people that you've admired and looked up to over the years?
Angus Fox, yep.
Yeah. George Defender, we should mention that they're all inductees into the Hall of Honorees upstairs here at the North Dakota Cowboy Hall of Fame. So that's important to you, to preserve the history and honor the legacy of your heroes.
Yeah, yep.
Yeah. Board meeting going on today upstairs. We're halfway through. Going to be whittling down the nominees to the final ballot this afternoon. But some exciting stuff going on, man. The future of the North Dakota Cowboy Hall of Fame and the city of Medora. Can't be too specific at this point, but how excited are you about that?
Yeah, well, I'm just tickled pink by some of the activities that we're going to be working on for Medora area.
Yeah. There's some big things being kicked around. Yeah, no kidding. So, anyway, what do you do day to day? What's your day job? What do you do? I know you said you're retired, but what do you do up there in Newtown?
Well, I got a few horses I've taken care of yet, you know, and a couple livestock of cows, but not that much. And
okay.
I've been sick, so I haven't really, did much.
Well, you're looking good, if that means anything. Might not be feeling good, but we get to a certain age, Nelson, the old check engine light keeps coming on.
Yeah, that's about right.
Yeah.
Trips to the doctor.
Yeah, we're looking forward to the annual meeting coming up February 17th and 18th in Minot, North Dakota. This saddle will be there. You can take it home, courtesy of this man, our guest today, Nelson Hart, one of the board members here at the North Dakota Cowboy Hall of Fame. And we'll be back on Dakota Cowboy in just a few minutes. We're brought to you by Dakota Community Bank and Trust.
Improve your home or business with services from Zaka Remodeling and Construction. Whether you need windows or doors repaired, replaced, or installed for your residential or commercial property, Zaka Remodeling and Construction can help. Our local and family-owned business offers flexible hours and over 10 years of experience in the industry. We are your local Pella expert. Pella is rated #1 in highest quality and innovation by homeowners across the country. Feel confident when you choose Pella and Zaka Remodeling. Contact us today for a free estimate. Zaka Remodeling and Construction.
It's every American's right to bear arms. At Mandan Sporting Goods, we're here to help you support your Second Amendment rights, which reads, a well-regulated militia being necessary to the security of a free state, the right of the people to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed. Whether you're looking for a pistol for personal defense or collector gun, we have the staff to help you. We also have the area's largest inventory of ammo and reloading supplies.
Mandan Sporting Goods, the area's local gun and ammo specialists.
I invite you to stop at Dakota Community Bank and Trust and meet our professional insurance agents. They offer numerous lines of insurance, including farm, ranch, federal crop and hail, commercial, home and auto. As an independent agency, they offer product solutions from a wide variety of companies. Our insurance professionals would like to get to know you and visit about your insurance needs.
Serving the community, looking out for you. At Dakota Community Bank and Trust, that's what we do.
Medora Boot and Western Wear open year-round in historic Medora. You'll find quality items for cowboys and cowgirls of all ages. Medora Boot and Western Wear has over 1,500 pair of boots on hand at all times. New this year, the R. Watson brand of boot, featuring an all-leather heel, riveted shank, and a 10-iron leather sole. Jeans, shirts, hats, caps, and more, and customer service is #1. Medora Boot and Western Wear in historic Medora.
Medora Boot and Western Wear.
Lori Hins here at the Bourbon Bureau with no apologies. Just an adventure every single day.
You know what? The students love me. I have a very high rating.
Where you will find all sides of the story.
They were forced to take classes online, but yet they were going out to bars and other things at night. Everyone knew this was ridiculous.
Bringing you a little dose of sanity every Saturday and Sunday at 8 p.m. Central on Beck and Beck.News.
Let the Little Missouri Saloon and Dining add to your historic Medora experience. Open 7 days a week. Enjoy family dining at its best on our main floor, as well as the upper dining room and outdoor patio with a fabulous view of Medora and the Badlands. Try the bison ribeye, delicious pizza, and an entire menu filled with fabulous food for all appetites. A full bar with an impressive list of tap beer and more adult beverage favorites. Visit us at littlemosaloon.com and look for live music events happening regularly. History lives at the Little Missouri Saloon and Dining in historic Medora. Y'all come see us now, you hear?
It's Dakota Cowboy here on Beck TV. Thanks for tuning in this evening. Greatly appreciate it. And we are brought to you each and every week by our friends at Dakota Community Bank and Trust. You know Dale Paulke, right?
Dale, yes.
Boys, he is a supporter of everything we do.
He is, big time.
Yes, ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Steve Tomac, a board member, an inductee, politician, a rancher. What else? What other titles do you have?
You know, I think I'm not sure, but there's plenty of titles. Now it's probably more just a rancher.
Just a rancher, and you probably prefer that, right? I mean,
you know, the winter's been trying and a challenge, but it's a notable title.
How long have you been involved with the North Dakota Cowboy Hall of Fame? Back in the Darrell Dorgan, Phil Baird days, or when did you jump on board here?
You know, I remember my first memory of the North Dakota Cowboy Hall of Fame actually is when Darrell Dorgan, I was serving in the legislature at the time, and Darrell Dorgan approached I forget which session it was, sometime in the 90s, the North Dakota legislature for a contribution to get the idea started.
Okay.
And of course, as you know, the North Dakota Cowboy Hall of Fame is now 26 years old today, or this year, and was happy to be a supporter back then. My direct involvement, other than attending a few of the annual meetings in the early 2000s, was when I was inducted I believe it was in 2008 or 2009.
Okay.
I was inducted into the Cowboy Hall of Fame, and then a year or two after that, I became a board member.
Okay. Now, let's back up a little bit beyond that. That's your when you first became involved with the North Dakota Cowboy Hall of Fame, but you grew up where?
I grew up in southwestern North Dakota, right on the North Dakota-South Dakota border, straight south of Carson, North Dakota, or east of Lemon, or west of Mobridge.
Several ways to get there, none of them wrong.
You can get there a lot of ways.
Yep, and then you grew up there, and then I do believe you spent some time at NDSU.
I did. I grew up there. I grew up on Standing Rock in Sioux County, as the second oldest of 18 children.
17 brothers and sisters?
17 brothers and sisters. I'm the second oldest, and when I graduated from high school, went to North Dakota State University, graduated from there, winter quarter 75, 76, and from there on up, it was all downhill.
Okay, wonderful, wonderful. So, still a Bison fan?
Still a Bison, go Bison.
Go Bison, yep. At the time of our conversation today, we're looking forward to the FCS Championship coming up in Frisco, Texas tomorrow. I'm sure you'll be watching.
You betcha.
Yeah. So, okay, you come into the rodeo room here at the North Dakota Cowboy Hall of Fame. you're tucked away in the corner here. Your career as a barrelman, you see your name up there, you see a big, 65-inch picture of yourself. What does that do to you? How does that make you feel?
Well, I'm so humbled. I mean, this display that the Cowboy Hall of Fame honored me with is right next to Wayne Herman, and we're right next to Brad Germanson.
Next to Lynn Linseth.
I mean, when you're among these kinds of great world champions, it is just really a humbling effect. I mean, I had a good career rodeo. I did my first rodeo in 1971. I did my last rodeo in 2006. And that's 35 years.
In this barrel.
In this barrel. Well, not all of them in this barrel, because there's a couple barrels in between. And the first 10 years were as a bullfighter, but, and 25 of those years were in the professional ranks, the PRCA, and traveled all the way from Alexander, Alberta, to Rochester, New York, to San Diego, California, and a lot of spots in between. But Bill, it's really humbling just to be next to the greats here and tucked away in the little corner here in the North Dakota Cowboy Hall of Fame.
All sorts of information and pictures of accolades that you've done. Some bad memories when you had the fire that burst into flames and things. But your legacy is enshrined in here, and congratulations on that. I don't know if I ever told you that, but I'm proud to know you, and it's an honor that you're standing amongst your display and chatting with us. Now, if this barrel could talk, what would it tell us? What would it say?
Well,
take a shower?
Take a shower, yeah. Perhaps, of the dirt and the grime on this particular barrel. Like you pointed out, it was in the mid, I forget when it was, late 1997, 98 or something. I was coming back from a rodeo and I lost all my equipment. So this particular barrel wasn't reincarnated. It was I built a new one after that fire that took my trailer and all the belongings I accumulated in 25 years. But this particular barrel would have been talk to you about not the miles you traveled, but the songs you'd sung.
Oh, sure.
The bumps, the bruises, and probably more importantly than anything, it would talk about the laughter from the crowds and the kids that played with it. It wasn't just in the middle of the arena. This is this is the pulpit, if you will, in the middle of the arena where the banter with the rodeo announcer starts from. But I would talk to you about the kids that were from 3 to 30 that would come behind the arena, come behind the chutes and play with it and play and push it back and forth and crawl in and out of. It would talk to you about all kinds of the fun and the energy that those youngsters had as they tried to imitate what was going on in the rodeo arena.
Did you travel the whole entire country or just North Dakota? I think you were pretty much around the United States.
You know, again, around the United States. I did a lot of rodeos, like I said before, all the way from north of Edmonton, Alberta, to Rochester, New York, to San Diego, California. Didn't get into Texas, but every place in between. Had a lot of rodeos in the Pacific Northwest. Big rodeos up there, Ellensburg, Walla Walla. Did the Dodge Circuit National Finals in Pocatello, Idaho twice. Did, Columbia River Circuit Finals in Yakima, Washington. Salinas, California, the California Rodeo. A lot of really outstanding rodeos.
Wow, good for you. And yeah, that was many, many years on the road, many miles and many memories and many lives touched. And now, where back to the North Dakota Cowboy Hall of Fame, where we were in 1998 and where we are in 2023, what a difference. And you and the other board members are definitely to be credited for the growth of the North Dakota Cowboy Hall of Fame. Along with your display, that too must make you just proud as can be. You know,
I'm particularly proud of the mission of the Cowboy Hall of Fame and the advancements that our current executive director, Rick Thompson. Rick has done a phenomenal job of capturing, of helping this be a financially stable Cowboy Hall of Fame. I mean, we're one of the only ones in the United States that operate like we do. And he and the staff here just do a phenomenal job. So proud of that, but probably most proud of the fact of the mission of the Cowboy Hall of Fame. You know, we're here to preserve the history. And Bill, we're just getting into the new list of inductees. We'll start down that road. We're going through a nomination process now where we accept the nominees for the new inductees, and the histories that the trustees present for the people they nominated are just phenomenal. That's the mission of the Cowboy Hall of Fame. Many of them make it to this hall in one form or another. But just because they are nominated doesn't mean they will be inducted.
Right.
But to capture that history and the stories, as you well know, because you've been recording these testimonials that we get at the annual meeting, that is probably the best 6-8 hours of enjoyment I get every year.
And we should mention too that Steve is the master of ceremonies, the facilitator, if you will, for the testimonies, and that's a process that we've really honed down to a science almost. We've got a timer, and we do the videos, and we post them, and people can watch and decide who they're going to vote for. But that's been a challenge that you and I have worked together on here over the last few years, but we got her down, I think.
Yes, and you've been a big part of that, Bill. We've this whole testimonial process has evolved. But what we're doing now is we're capturing on video those people that step forward and say, I'd like to nominate this individual for this category.
And here's why.
And here's why. And we capture that, and we try to get them off script so they speak right from the heart. And you've done an excellent job of doing that. But it's such an enjoyable afternoon, and it'll be in Minot on February 16th, I believe.
17th and 18th.
17th, February 17th. No, that's Friday. So Saturday,
the 18th. Yep.
Saturday, the 18th is when we'll have those testimonials. And if you're looking for a place just to capture some history of North Dakota, of the cowboy heritage, that's the place to be, because it's an enjoyable afternoon listening to those histories being recounted and relived.
I chuckle because one of the stories that I recall from the testimonies is, I can't remember, was it Bob Aber that got treed by a bull? And he had to stay up in the tree because the bull kind of, his wife told that story. And there's some amazing stories that are told. And
and was it Dr. Baker?
Yes.
Dr. Baker, the one that had the dynamite on the dam?
Yes, the explosion, yes.
I mean, you can't repeat these stories. And, an all-time favorite on all of these, I've just got to send a shout out to Rex Cook, because Rex Cook has an infallible memory of a lot of the trail rides, or a lot of the horses, or a lot of the hands that he lived with, and I really enjoy Rex's testimonies when he finds someone that he wants to stand and speak for.
Yes, and yeah, you're right, and he's in his 90s and he's still roping and he's still telling these stories. I mean, what a gift. What
an amazing individual.
Yep, absolutely. So you're going to facilitate the testimonies again this year at the annual meeting, and looking forward to that. You're invited to come and join us and hear some of these great stories. Steve, is there a question? I mean, we could go on for hours. There's so many, once I started this interview, I realized, holy cow, we could talk about your rodeo career. We could talk about a lot of different things, your involvement with the North Dakota Cowboy Hall of Fame. And I hope this isn't the last time we visit. But for today, January 2023, is there a question that I haven't asked that you would like to get some information to our viewers?
If there is, it escapes me. I mean, when I think of, if you're interested in North Dakota heritage, if you're interested in the history of North Dakota, whether it be rodeo or Native American or ranchers of a certain time frame, the North Dakota Cowboy Hall of Fame is the one that's trying to capture this history and enshrine it in this little museum, if you will, and we make a the staff and the board make a very conscientious effort to change the museum every year. So if you were here last year or the year before, if you come back, you might see some of the same stuff, but you're not going to see a repeat. There will always be something new here. And so, because there's so much history to repeat, if you wanted to research the history of some long rider or some cowboy or somebody that we've got the history for, we've got that on a kiosk that you can go to and look that history up. There's so many things to do here. I can't oversell this. Yes. I can't oversell this prize. And like I said a little bit earlier in the interview, Bill, this is one of a kind. There's no other state in the nation that's done as good a job about capturing the history about the Western heritage as North Dakota has.
Oh, wow. That's well put. Well put. We started the interview talking about basically a snapshot of your resume, and I'll end it the same way. We know that you were a politician for over a decade and a half. You are a rancher. You were a barrel man in the rodeo, a clown back in those days, and you're here in the North Dakota Cowboy Hall of Fame. How do you want to be remembered, Steve? Years from now, we're to the age where the old check engine light keeps coming on, and so that indicates that what's to come. But how do you want to be remembered?
I've never answered that question because I've never really thought about it.
I apologize for putting you on the spot.
My focus has always been what's ahead, what's tomorrow, what are we going to do tomorrow. But I'm always I can't even remember, I can't even think of the right word here, but I'm always thankful that people even remember me. I get so many people. I had a 25-year-old kid that was living at home, this was a couple years back, and he said, Steve, I still got a poster of you hanging up in my bedroom. He was still living with his folks, and so that might say something, but I'm always thankful when people come up and say, yep, I enjoyed you at the rodeos, and so I appreciate that.
Okay. North Dakota Cowboy Hall of Fame board member, North Dakota Cowboy Hall of Fame inductee, Steve Tomac. Your time is precious. I don't take it for granted. Thank you for spending the last few minutes here with us on Dakota Cowboy.
Thank you for having me.
You bet. We'll be back in just a minute here on Dakota Cowboy on Beck TV, brought to you by our friend Dale Paulke and his team at Dakota Community Bank and Trust.
At Service Basin Transportation, just give us a call to arrange transportation within our 7-county ridership. We serve a large area, including many towns, in the Magic City or even to the capital city, Bismarck. Door-to-door service for less cost of an Uber, Lyft, or taxi. For shopping, for dining, for doctor's appointments, for visiting. It's Minot's most convenient way to travel to Bismarck, within Minot, or anywhere within our 7-county region. Service Basin Transportation.
Welcome to the start of Main Street, the Main Medical Building located at 315 Main, downtown Minot. The unique shops inside offer body and mind healing, a safe haven for mothers-to-be, mixed martial arts, hair salons, massages, counseling services, and much more. Also, keep a special lookout for a brand new Jamaican-inspired restaurant opening this fall. Take a stroll inside the Main Medical Building and uncover the unique shops and experiences that lay within. Discover the start of Main Street at the Main Medical Building today.
Hi, Rich from Law Motors. 45 years ago, Dad started selling cars. 35 years ago, I started selling cars. And 15 years ago, Tyler started selling cars.
And I'm Mom, and I told all of them, just be nice.
Whether you have guns, ammo, vehicles, toys, or collectibles, consign with Last Chance Auction and we can help put money in your pocket. Give us a call at 334-SOLD or visit lastchancesd.com for upcoming auctions.
Man has worked in sync with Mother Nature since the beginning of time. Relying on her to provide sufficient moisture every growing season is a roll of the dice. You can now insure your pastures and rangelands with Rainfall Index policy available from Chamely Financial. This will give you the peace of mind by knowing you will be protected from the adverse effects of Mother Nature. Contact Chamely Financial today, 719-338-3428, or go to chamelyfinancial.com.
JR's Auto Body and Truck Collision has built a reputation as one of the most reputable and reliable body shops in this region. With nearly 30 years in business, customers count on JR's to get it done right the first time. They'll work with your insurance company to smoothen the process. From their 40-foot frame straightening machine, Sickens paint, and the latest technology in the repair industry, they're the only name you need to know. For auto, semi, RV, and trailer repair, it's JR's Auto Body and Truck Collision, North Dickinson. Call 701-483-6778. JR's Auto Body and Truck Collision. For more than 70 years, farmers and ranchers have relied on Dickinson Ready Mix for all their concrete needs. Whether it's a shop building for machinery storage or paved feedlots for your livestock, grain bins for on-site grain storage, or precast pads for automatic cattle waterers, Dickinson Ready Mix has been there to provide quality concrete for all your agricultural structures and infrastructure. For your next project, call Dickinson Ready Mix to discuss the benefits that concrete can add to your operation.
Hey, we're looking for ideas for our next commercial. Thoughts?
We have a fully stocked lot. Cars, trucks, SUVs.
Clearly.
We strive for honesty, transparency, and a better buying experience.
Of course we do. Guys, think, everybody's busy. Nobody has time to spend hours shopping for a car. Has to be simple, easy.
Sales, service, simplified.
Perfect. Torgerson Auto Center, East Bismarck Expressway. Sales, service, simplified.
It's Dakota Cowboy here on Beck TV, brought to you by Dakota Community Bank and Trust. I'm your host, Wild Bill, Media Director for the North Dakota Cowboy Hall of Fame. This segment is brought to you by Torgerson Auto Center on the East Bismarck Expressway in Bismarck. Check them out on Facebook or at torgersonautocenter.com. They have a fantastic inventory of cars, trucks, SUVs, minivans, you name it. They've got it at Torgerson Auto Center. This is the North Dakota Cowboy Hall of Fame Inductee of the Week. This week, we take you back to 1999, a hot August 5th afternoon afternoon as Champions Ride at Home on the Range in Sentinel Butte was inducted under the category Special Achievement. We begin with Jim Tesher, who is one of the founders of Champions Ride, and Jim had a lot to say that day. So much, in fact, that Reverend Father William Joseph Fonlander couldn't help but give him a bad time about it at the very end of the segment. Check it out. Jim Tesher now accepting the honor on behalf of Champions Ride at the 2000 North Dakota Cowboy Hall of Fame induction ceremony.
We're both really pleased that this match could be picked for the Achievement Award, the Special Achievement Award of the year. This award is very fitting for Home on the Range, but I think this is not the great thing they do. They don't need this match bronc riding to win this award. For 50 years, they've been giving underprivileged children a home and a better way of life, get them started off on the right foot. And I think they could win that year in and year out. The match was started 44 years ago. The other day I was asked by Winston Satcham, did you think then that this match would still be going 44 years from the time you started it? I said, at the age I was then, I didn't even plan on living for 44 years. I guess Tom and I were both quite disappointed or let down when the match riding at Dickinson had stopped. The late Howard Schnell got killed in a plane accident, and him and Ray and Willard were three of the pushers of that match at Dickinson. And I said to Tom one day, I says, maybe Home on the Range could use something like this. And he thought it sounded good. We talked to Joe Chase, to Elvin Nelson and Dwayne Howard. They all thought it sounded good. Father thought it sounded good. So Ray Schnell, who was one of the directors of Home on the Range, we mentioned to him, great idea. And the first thing we knew, there was cats and dozers and whatnot filling in the draw and leveling the land, and fellas like Willard Schnell and all of them up there building an arena. And the match has been there ever since. By the way, if I forget some of this stuff, why Father kind of summed it up. He said to my wife and I, he says, you, every time I see you two, he says, you kind of remind me of a story, he says, I heard. He says, this older couple were at their home, and the wife says, why don't you go down to the store and get some ice cream? She says, I'll make a list. No, I don't need no list. He says, I can remember ice cream. And just he's going out the door, she says, by the way, why don't you get some strawberries? She says, I'll make a list for you so you don't forget it. No, I said, I can remember strawberries and ice cream go together. So he goes down to the store and comes back and sets the sack on the counter, and she looks in it, and all that's in there is 2 cans of tomato soup. She says, I knew I should have made a list. She says, you forgot the crackers. So at that time, Ray was one of the directors of Home on the Range, and I gotta look at my notes. Oh, we've had, it was kind of left up to Tom and I to find the bronc riders to match, and then Casey and Deb, Casey Tibbs, Deb Copenhaver, Marty Wood, all of them have been champions, and we contacted them, and we were right in amongst them, rodeoing, and good friends of theirs and ours, and they all liked the idea, and so it happened. It happened at kind of the wrong time the first year. It was in May, and we all like to froze to death. They built a fire behind the chute so we could warm our hands, so we could hang on to the buck rein a little bit. I got to see here what's going on. Oh, we had every top or world's champion bronc rider since 1950 there, with the exception of Monty Henson, Sean Davis, Marty Wood, Casey Tibbs, Deb Copenhaver, Brad Germanson, Bill Innerman, you name them, we had them. They were all there. Even had, luckily we were kind of friends with Rex Allen's. We had stars like Rex Allen and so on there for to help us along. I got too many pages here. I'm missing one. But kind of to get back at Father on his story, he's been retired, and when you retire, you don't quit, you just quit taking orders. But he was at the Church of Christ the King in Dickinson, or in Bismarck after he retired, and he was there a couple of years when he needed some documents from the office, and his secretary wasn't there, and he says, gosh, I hate to go in there and go through her files and desk when she's not there. He says, but I gotta have them, he says. So he went in there and got to looking through her desk and came to the bottom right hand drawer, and there was opened it up, and there was a bunch of money in there, cash, and over $100, and a carton with 2 eggs in it. He says, boy, I trust her with my life. He says, I don't know. He said, I don't know where that money came from. He says, well, he found his documents the next morning when she came to work. Why, he said, I'd like to talk to you. He says, yesterday I needed these documents out of your desk, and he says, you weren't here. I hate to go, he told her the story. I hate to go through it, but I did find them. But he said, I'm pretty puzzled. He says, there was all this money and this carton with 2 eggs in it in the bottom right-hand drawer. Oh, she says, that carton of eggs, she says, every time you give a bad sermon, I put another egg in there. Oh, he felt pretty good. That's not bad. He said, I've been here 2 years and 2 eggs. Well, what I really came here for, he says, what I want to talk to you about was this, all this cash in there. Oh, every time I get a dozen eggs, I sell them, she says. So, we had a lot of cooperation from all the stock contractors. I think we've had 4 or 5 or maybe 6 of the top bucking horses of the year there. I know some of them there have been there 3 or 4 times. We had Fiddick Brothers Rodeo there with horses like Funeral Wagon, Red Pepper, Figure 4, Harry Vold with Necktie, Bugle Boy, both bucking horses of the year in Canada, Colonel Blue, Harry Knight with Jake, Joker, and Big John, all 3 bucking horses of the year. Oral Zumo with Trails End, also another bucking horse of the year several times. Bombs Away, Peterson Special, Many Wounds, Bob Aber with Old Shep and Moon River. And there was other contractors there, such as George Anderson, Took Brothers, or the Took Rodeo Company with top horses. I think we had every Ben Johnstone, every top bucking horse and every top bronc rider that was around there. And I don't think this there I'm lost. Oh, Father is the one that kept the match going. He done all the hard work. He flew to different rodeos with Tom, drove to rodeos with me, Cheyenne, Denver, and so on. He done a lot of hard work. I'm sure his job would have been a lot easier, though, if he'd have done his share of the driving. That's kind of an inside joke, I guess. But I know one year going to Cheyenne, why I must have drove at least 15 miles, and we started in the middle of the night, so I never did hear the end of that. Tom, I guess I'll let you take over this.
And I guess to receive the award is the one person most responsible, past, present, and future, for the match ride of champions, Father Fonlander.
Don't you guys ever say anything about my long sermons. Well, I'm privileged to receive this. I'm sort of a has-been. I've been retired, and Winston Satrin and now Pat Peterman are running the show out at home on the range. And I want to thank the Cowboy Hall of Fame committee for selecting us. Without me saying any more about it than that, let me just ask you, be sure and come tomorrow, and you can judge how good it is. And I'm sure that you're going to come away realizing that it is great. Thank you so much for selecting Champions Ride as the for this Cowboy Hall of Fame recognition. Thank you.
For the record, I don't think anybody ever complained about Father Fonlander's sermons, ever. Champions Ride, our North Dakota Cowboy Hall of Fame inductee of the week, brought to you by Torgerson Auto Center. We'll be back in just a moment here on Dakota Cowboy, brought to you by Dakota Community Bank and Trust.
Okay, we're looking for ideas for our next commercial. Thoughts?
We have a fully stocked lot. Cars, trucks, SUVs.
Clearly.
We strive for honesty, transparency, and a better buying experience.
Of course we do. Guys, think everybody's busy. Nobody has time to spend hours shopping for a car. Has to be simple, easy.
Sales, service, simplified.
Perfect. Torgerson Auto Center, East Bismarck Expressway. Sales, service, simplified.
Hello, I'm Mike Lindell, and in light of the recent events, your continued support means everything to myself and my employees. To thank you, we're having the biggest sale ever on all MyPillow bedding. Get MyPillow bed sheets for as low as $29.98. A set of pillowcases for only $9.98. In this economy, instead of buying a new bed, rejuvenate your bed with a MyPillow mattress topper for as low as $99.99. We also have blankets in a variety of sizes, colors, and styles, like plush, waffle, or gossamer, for as low as $29.98. We even have pet blankets from small size to the ones for your car. Get huge discounts on duvets, quilts, down comforters, and so much more. So go to mypillow.com or call that number on your screen. Use your promo code and you'll get huge discounts on all MyPillow bedding, including MyPillow bed sheets for as low as $29.98. Get all your shopping in while quantities last. Please order now.
Hey y'all, it's Trent on the loose. I'm a 6th generation farmer, husband, patriot, father. And as much as I'd love to just sit here under this shade tree and celebrate my own place on my front porch, truth of the matter is that people don't know who, where, and how is producing their food. So travel the country with Trent on the loose, and we'll find those interesting human interest stories behind the people that bring us the efficient food supply. Trent on the loose.
The Wall of Honor pays tribute to local individuals from across the state of North Dakota. On digital indoor billboards, these heroes of the past and present are prominently featured with a photo, name, and their branch of service. Our funding is made possible by donations and advertisers like you.
As a veteran and as a board member, I couldn't think of a better way to help remember the service and sacrifice than celebrating and supporting the Wall of Honor.
Medora Boot and Western Wear open year-round in historic Medora. You'll find quality items for cowboys and cowgirls of all ages. Medora Boot and Western Wear has over 1,500 pair of boots on hand at all times. New this year, the R. Watson brand of boot, featuring an all-leather heel, riveted shank, and a 10-iron leather sole. Jeans, shirts, hats, caps, and more, and customer service is #1. Medora Boot and Western Wear in historic Medora.
Medora Boot and Western Wear.
Let the Little Missouri Saloon and Dining add to your historic Medora experience. Open 7 days a week. Enjoy family dining at its best on our main floor, as well as the upper dining room and outdoor patio with a fabulous view of Medora and the Badlands. Try the bison ribeye, delicious pizza, and an entire menu filled with fabulous food for all appetites. A full bar with an impressive list of tap beer and more adult beverage favorites. Visit us at littlemosaloon.com and look for live music events happening regularly. History lives at the Little Missouri Saloon and Dining in historic Medora. Y'all come see us now, you hear?
Well, it's hard to believe that another hour of Dakota Cowboy has gone by. We're looking forward to next week's program. We hope to get in touch with Lindsay Miller, who will be the newly crowned Miss Rodeo North Dakota for 2023. And the National Day Calendar with their world headquarters in Mandan, North Dakota, will be at the North Dakota Cowboy Hall of Fame. We hope to visit with their CEO, Marlo Anderson, on our next program. So thanks so much for watching. Have a great week, and we'll see you next week here on Dakota Cowboy, brought to you by Dakota Community Bank and Trust. I'm Wild Bill, and I'll see you in the future, if not in the pasture. Adios.
Whether you have guns, ammo, vehicles, toys, or collectibles, consign with Last Chance Auction and we can help put money in your pocket. Give us a call at 334-SOLD or visit lastchancesd.com for upcoming auctions.
Hello, I'm Mike Lindell, and my employees and I want to thank each and every one of you for your continued support. With everything going on right now, your rest is so important. That's why we're having the biggest MyPillow sale ever. Not only are my bed pillows as low as $19.98, but you can get the best body pillows ever. Regular $89.98, now only $29.98. Take your rest on the go with our Roll and Go Anywhere My Pillows for only $14.98. And we have our new couch and accent pillows. They aren't just for looks. They have MyPillow's patented adjustable fill that gives you that amazing MyPillow comfort. In this economy, you get the best gifts ever for the best prices ever. So go to mypillow.com or call the number on your screen. Use your promo code and you get deep discounts on body, couch, bolster pillows, and so much more, including my original bed pillows for as low as $19.98. Please order now while quantities last.
We are rewriting Hollywood's script for our kids. I'm pop culture expert Tina Griffin, and as a former Hollywood actress, I'm giving you a behind-the-scenes look at how today's entertainment is eroding the foundational development of America's youth and how to safely navigate this pop culture chaos. Knowledge is power. Parents want solutions. It's time to get the power back in your hands and reclaim the right to decide who and and what should influence your kids.
Weekdays at 2 p.m. Central Time on Beck TV. Now you can have the personalized forecast at your fingertips when you need it. Beck's exclusive Weather Insight is information tailored to you. Radar, weather alerts, forecasts, and videos. Download the free Weather on Beck News app. Search your app store now.